Hello, listener. My name is Dr. Thais Speaks. I'm your life strategist and the Common Sensei. This is the Common Sensei Show. My listeners of the show are curious about breakthrough strategies on how to live a better life, how to apply business strategies to everyday living, and they're listening for ways to increase common sense so that it becomes common again. In listening to this podcast, my only requirement is that you share what you've learned. Don't be so stingy. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So you spend a few minutes listening to me, you get a chuckle, and you might learn a little something. But then you keep it to yourself? Stingy. Well, regardless of what you believe, we are here. You are here. Our purpose, your purpose, is to learn from others and teach what you know so that we can all prosper. As simple as that sounds, there are people who create their own agendas, and that's okay until their agenda is created to hurt others by withholding knowledge and power. I am here to assist you with helping others, to spread knowledge, to empower you to make common sense common again. Whether I tell you something you already know or I share something that you never even thought about, I want us to grow together and share what we find with others. So let's grow. I am taking this moment to share with you who I am and what my agenda is. I am a believer, which means I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and He is the only way to heaven. Not only is He the only way to heaven, but I believe that He watches over me while I am here on earth. One of His main jobs is to make sure I don't do anything too stupid while I'm here. Don't get me confused, though. I am not proclaiming to be perfect. I'm following the one who is perfect. My name is in the book of life, and I'm in line, like on the highway to heaven. But please know that sometimes on that highway, some people like to drive a little wild. Some speed, some drive too slow. Some like to do tricks in the road. Some want to tell you how to drive. And some just don't know how to stay in their lane. But once they veer over to my lane, well, let's just say I'm working on managing certain areas of my life. You know what I mean. Anyway, okay, where was I? I am married with 2 children, or let's just say I have 3 children at times. He's just significantly older than the younger 2, and older than me too. I'll just leave it at that. At the time of this podcast, my children are 13 and 14. I'm a Gemini, and if you don't know what that means, it means that you may not hear another podcast after the 3rd one, and I've opened up a shaved ice store. But eventually, I'll circle back around to the podcast, so bear with me and buy my shaved ice. By the way, there is a huge difference between snow cones and shaved ice. I'm learning to live by the motto of start with what you know. So I'm starting this podcast with the knowledge that it can be done. As I have done one before in 2007, I know I have an audience of at least 3 people. I know that I am flexible when it comes to show topics. I know that I'm working on a segment called Ask the Oracle. I know that I will have a few people on my show who will help spread some insight on a particular subject. I know that I could be mildly funny, all depending on my coffee intake. I know that I'm blessed to have at least 2 very talented people in my life. One is my personal photographer and consulting audio engineer, Vaughn Wilson of Mega Ace Multimedia. Anytime I look fabulous in a photo and sound like a lady on the mic,
because I normally sound like this on the microphone,
it's because of him and his team. And the other is an awesome musician, Keith G. of Ashy Music. You'll hear his musical talents throughout each of my episodes, melting his music with my voice to make each podcast sound extraordinary. I know I receive a lot of great ideas from God. I know that I love to teach, and I know I love to learn. So where do I start? I don't know exactly, but I'm starting with those elements. I'm that parent who takes real life moments as they're happening and use them as teaching moments for my children. There is nothing better than for a parent or any adult for that matter to teach a child something that will make them more aware of life. And then the perfect example happens where the lesson makes total sense. I really enjoy those moments, and I want to share some of them with you so that you can have some ideas to talk about with your own children or someone else's children or a classroom of children. A lot of my shows are going to address those awkward things like how someone's breath stinks, but you don't know how to tell them, how customer service in some restaurants suck, and of course, how it can be improved. And even how to improve bill paying in your home. And perhaps something that you may want to submit for me to address. Who knows? You know, I did have this 30-minute radio show that was uniquely titled Dr. Thais Speaks. Like, who would have guessed that one, right? Well, on that show, I related life with biblical principles. It was so cool that I must continue doing it in this podcast. So I'm working on a quarterly show. I'm not sure what to title it, but it's going to be somewhere along the lines of when you skip church, you get a pass by listening to my show that has like biblical principles and concepts. You know what? I think I'll call it Church Pass. I love it. See how easy I am? So mixed in with my weekly podcast shows, I'll have a quarterly biblical principle show called Church Pass. There you go. So if you skip church, you can listen to one of my shows titled Church Pass. Yeah, but unlike my radio show, it won't be 30 minutes. I'm sticking to 15. For all of my podcasts, I am determined to stick to 15 minutes or less, simply because with all the things that are vying for our attention, I don't think anyone wants to dedicate any more than 15 minutes to me and their speakers. In real life, you may give me 30 minutes or so, but in podcast life, 15 it is. That's about it. I feel like we're on the first date and I don't want to spill everything out. I really admire people who can share 7 seconds of their time to spread the word on their social media sites about something so great, so educational and entertaining, like this podcast, The Common Sensei Show. Find the share button, email it, spread the word on your social media sites, and leave me a comment. I'd really appreciate a positive review on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening on. Music Bed Magic by Keith Griffin of Ashy Music. Enjoy your journey in life. Live, love, and laugh. I'm Dr. Thais Speaks, and you can find me online at drthais.com. That's drthais.com. Thank you for listening and caring enough to share.